Sup legends? Today we're going to be looking at one common and key mistake that a lot of players will make, and I cannot stress this enough, but is costing players fights in games that they otherwise could have easily won. In this video, I'm not only going to cover this mistake, but also offer some suggestions as to how to fix this problem. My goal is, by the end of this video, I would have hopefully helped you guys build or rebuild better habits by rectifying this mistake, and show you an example of a top player that has developed a playstyle to avoid this issue as well. The single mistake that is costing players fights in games that were winnable is simply over-peeking. You may have the best aim and movement in the game, but if you peek in predictable times or intervals, then you will most likely be lasered by your opponents, and if you continue to re-peek, then you will get lasered some more until you either get aped or knocked, and in both situations, it usually doesn't spell well for your team. Over-peeking without shields is especially dangerous, because even if you survive the damage output from your opponents, you're still required to spend a long time syringing or medkitting to recover. Even if you were to try to pop a battery during this time, experienced players or teams will ape your team immediately when you're healing. And there you go, easy 3v2 and a classic wipe. That is, unless you have a good caustic or rampart on your team that's able to bunker your team down and prevent pushes. Even in a bunkered down scenario though, you will still be out of commission for a bit, while your team tries to fend off a 2v3 situation. And yeah, that's not pretty. It's just a situation you should be trying to avoid at all costs. Sure, there are some cases where re-peeking is effective, but it should be used occasionally, and used when your opponents are least expecting a re-peek. Most players lead with a re-peek and continue to re-peek, even after they lost their shields and a little bit of their health, and eventually they just get straight up knocked. The way you can fix this mistake is only peeking when you have shield left in your armor. Alternatively, you can peek together with your teammates, or use the jiggle peeking technique, where you're doing quick peeks and aren't fully committed to your spray or using your magazine. Apex isn't like CSGO or Valorant, so don't worry about dying in a single jiggle peek. However, if you're continuously jiggle peeking, then be prepared that your opponents will still do a lot of damage to you, possibly cracking your shields and then taking a bit of your health. If this situation happens, you're still going to be snowballed and aped by your opponents, even if you're utilizing the jiggle peeking technique. So be sure not to jiggle too predictably. Switch up the tempo of your peeks to help keep your enemies on their toes. Finally, we're going to be reviewing some examples of what it means to have this habit integrated to your playstyle. Don't get me wrong, legends, I'm not telling you to stop peeking. So for the aggressive players out there, I'm only saying peek quicker and more precisely. Take a look at Fade's famous instant slide jump clip, for example. If you look at many of Fade's plays when he's attempting 1v3s or even some 1v1s, he only fully commits to a spray when he has the absolute advantage in damage over his opponents. You'll rarely see Fade engaging in a shootout with his enemies. It's always peek, shoot, duck into cover so they can't trade the damage, and boom, re-peek again. If they waste their bullets by shooting expecting re-peeks, they will need to reload. Boom, and that's when you re-peek, knock one, and move on to the next. Here's another example of what I mean by not fully committing to your peek or your magazine. This is a clip of me baiting the Kraber shot with my peek, but notice how I'm not fully committing to my peek and making sure to duck under cover before the enemy shoots back. But here, I still have the objective of out-damaging my opponent. I simply laid all the groundwork along with my push using short peeks and out-damaging the Wraith before ultimately committing to finishing off the fight, knowing that I have the advantage. That's all for today, folks. Thanks for tuning in, and if you got this far into the video, I appreciate it a lot, and thanks a bunch. If you enjoyed the video or found the discussion thoughtful or useful, please give the video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. It would mean so much to me if you could smash that subscribe button and check out more of my content here on YouTube. I post Apex Legends content regularly, so please be sure to click the notification bell to not miss an upload. Thank you all again. And that being said, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.